If you started to wake up, you've probably noticed how you've had some self-destructive patterns that have needed some addressing, whether it be lust, fear, greed, envy, power, whatever the case may be. You may also have seen exactly how this world has been designed in such a way in order to constantly bombard you with those things. The point of this is to keep you in these states, because when you're in these states, they become familiar because they're what's going on in society. They're all around you constantly. This is insidious for two reasons. Number one, obviously the inundation of it is significant, but the other part of it is it trains your body on a physiological level, on a cellular level, to become addicted to these states through release of dopamine and gene expression and that sort of thing. So what happens is you've got the external prison, which is the world around you, which is constantly pumping you with these things. But then you've also got the internal prison. You don't have to have the external prison once the internal prison is set up, because you're addicted to these states. You can become addicted to anxiety because it becomes your default state. I think we all know that after a certain point, when you look around, whether it be the tribalism, which calibrates at pride, or whether it be the angry political theater, all of these things, after a certain point, you have to understand and you have to say conclusively that this isn't coincidence. And what they're trying to do is keep you from these higher states. Because in these higher states, that's where you connect to the divine. That's where you connect to God. That's where you are free from these external systems, because joy and peace and love and all of these things and this internal bliss, they don't actually require anything. The states of lack and the states of lust and all these other things, they require these inputs that are constant. And once you're able to ascend above those, then you no longer need those things. You find out that everything that you have is within you. But the reason this is so insidious, and the reason that people start to do well with it and then end up failing, is because they're quite literally addicted to these states. And it's no fault of your own. You've been conditioned essentially from birth to accept these things as normal. It's just the way society works. And the way that it's been presented is that if you are to step outside of this and try to be virtuous, then you are labeled as an outsider or as a crazy person. It's a mess, obviously. And the only way to rise above it is to rewire your programming through repetition and consistency. And that takes time, that takes presence, and that takes mental energy. And meanwhile, you've got the external systems that are constantly vying for your control back. And it makes it very, very difficult. I've had my ups and downs through this process, trying to rid myself of old patterns that no longer serve me. And ultimately, I've fallen back into the trap a few times because, again, you start questioning yourself. They made virtue seem like insanity. And they made evil ubiquitous. They made it the normal. They made it the standard, the baseline. And they've conditioned society in order to just make it how it is. And if you're trying to rise above these things, you're going to have a hard time doing it. That's why isolation is so important. It's because you must isolate the machine before you can rebuild it. So if you're going through this right now, if you're in this process and you've had some ups and downs, just know you're not alone. We're in the process of breaking out, but you got to understand you didn't get to these states overnight. You're not going to undo it overnight either. But if you're able to stay consistent with it and you're able to consistently rise above, then I believe that you will get there. And you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. It's going to really suck. There's going to be really high highs and really low lows. But hang in there. You're not alone. You're not the only one going through this, and you're not crazy. So just keep going. Love you.